arrived at Singapore to do battle under the lights. But first of all, let's have a look at some of the breaking news that has come out heading into this Grand Prix. So first of all, teams are still trying to look for different drivers here and there. And the first ones that we picked out is Tom and Reese. They both still haven't signed a contract for Mercedes for next year. And now teams are starting to look to try and grab them quickly before they try and make their mind up on signing for their respective teams. Tom, however, has stated that he's not actually making a decision on his future until the end of the year. So with that front, obviously, it's going to be a bit more difficult for teams to try and get up to the back of him, especially when he's not committing any form of future plans until the end of the season. Mercedes, meanwhile, have believed that this season has been the luckiest season that they've had in F1 so far. Mercedes have been embroiled in a battle with McLaren this year. However, with McLaren's severe unreliability that they've had this year, Mercedes have pulled away in both the drivers and the constructors' standings, and that Toto Wolff believes that the reason that they are in front is because McLaren have been suffering reliability-wise, as he believes Mercedes have not had the outright pace to beat McLaren. And then finally, Pascal Wehrlein has come into fire after a poor second half of the season. Pascal Wehrlein was odds-on favourite to become Formula 1 World Champion this year, but his second half of the season has been really poor, dropping him down the order, and now obviously he's looking like he's going to finish third in the championship. And George Russell is closing the gap between himself and also Pascal Wehrlein after George had a really poor start to the season. So what can we take from the practice pointers then? Well, first of all, Red Bull have been absolutely electric in practice. They were much faster than Mercedes and also McLaren in FP1 and FP3. But in FP2, especially when the race simulators came into play, that's when Mercedes and McLaren showed that they weren't too far behind. And obviously, Christian Horner has still mentioned that those two teams can still pose a threat to them. And Red Bull could be looking at another victory or potentially their first 1-2 of the season. Renault and Porsche, meanwhile, are setting near identical lap times, so spotted in FP2. Looks like we could be seeing a very close fight between those two teams. But without further ado, let's get into qualifying and the race for the Singapore Grand Prix. Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy298 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. So we're here for round number 12 for the Singapore Grand Prix, which was obviously a bit of a surprise because obviously, as we heard in the last episode, that obviously Singapore and Japan are going ahead after they faced late inspections on grandstands after they were deemed unsafe. But obviously, both organisers wanted to go ahead and made the work ethic to get them ahead. And as you can see then, we head into qualifying, and well, my first run, it didn't really end that well. I was actually on for a really solid lap, but as soon as I got towards the bridge there, I just about managed to turn the car around. As soon as I got into the bridge there, you saw I just got out of shape on the exit at the right-handed curb, and then I lost all form of balance in the car through that section. The car was sliding around everywhere, and I had to abandon that lap. Onto lap number 2, and we're all the way down in P8, which is my now official banker lap. I tend to go for 3 runs in qualifying, and obviously on this occasion, I could only really do 2, because of course that's all I had available to me. On this final lap here, you can see that I'm actually down on my banker lap time. We're already in P10. We do just about go up a little bit at the end of the lap, and that's obviously because we had ERS available, but it's only P11 for us. It's not been a very good qualifying session at all from us today, and we've qualified outside of the top 10, but George Russell there qualifies on pole position by 9/100ths of a second ahead of Sam, and Pascal Wehrlein a 10th shy with Hulkenberg and then Reese and then Rosberg. And then Lando Norris ahead of Ricardo, Vettel, Ocon, and then myself. Both Audi cars not having the best of qualifying there, with Vettel down in P9 and Hamilton down in P13 there. And obviously we've got the BMW cars leading the back row there. But not a very strong qualifying session from myself. It was a very scruffy one. And I sort of had to play a bit of a cautious role because I'd already lost 1 lap. But in the race, we're going to go for a one-stop strategy. And that's the ultra softs to the soft tyres. It's the best strategy, I think, for me. And that's what we're going to do. But anyway, we're on the grid here now to start the Singapore Grand Prix. Under the lights, it's 5 red lights and it's lights out. There we go. That was the fastest light sequence ever as we get underway then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Decent start from us as we go to the inside. One of the Porsche cars there who just flies in towards the first corner there. Literally takes no quarters there into the first corner. We're now side by side with Daniel Ricciardo, and we managed to pass Ricciardo just about there, I think, as we go onto the on towards the bridge now. And we do just that. We're past him now, and we're up in front of Daniel Ricciardo. He will have the slipstream down the straight here. One of the Audis there, Hamilton, is scrapping with the other Renault car of Esteban Ocon. We've got one of the Porsche cars trying to have a look here on Lando Norris. Norris covers that one off, and he says, no thank you, you are not passing there. And we are just about staying in front of Ricciardo. We have a look at the Porsche car here, Verstappen now, having a little cheeky look at the inside there. He got compromised on the exit of Raffles, and we decided to try and and have a look, but it just didn't work out for us on that occasion as we get very close to the wall there on that time. And Ricciardo now might just have a run in towards the Singapore sling. Won't work for him though on that occasion as Daniel Ricciardo is just too far back as we now go up towards the bridge section. You can see here, we've got a lot of pace against the Porsche car as the back end slides again there, trying to work on these tyres. I had a look, you could see there. I really wanted to go down the inside of Verstappen into the hairpin, but I thought better of it. I'm in the lead of the championship as well, and I've got quite a comfortable advantage. And I know Sam is out in second place, but there's no point in me rushing these overtakes. Remember, I am on the ultra soft tyres. All the drivers around me are on the hyper soft tyres. They're on much faster tyre compounds than myself, and I just need to bide my time there. And eventually, we will find our way through these drivers later on in the Grand Prix when their tyres start to degrade. As we have a little look now at the rest of the drivers and see where they're at. And George Russell has got a massive advantage out front. Look at that from George. What a sensational start for the Red Bull drivers. He crosses the start-finish line. He's got a massive advantage ahead of Sam. And then it is Pascal Wehrlein ahead of the Ferrari of Hülkenberg. And then obviously of Reese. And we're coming across the line. And my engineer offered a strategy change to pit on the end of the first lap and go for another set of ultra softs. I don't know what you're on about. But on to lap 3 of the Grand Prix now. We're closing up to the back of Verstappen here. And we're just comfortably staying in the DRS train. Not really making too much out of it. But I am a little bit closer to Verstappen. He gets flustered a little bit behind Norris. We go down the inside of Max there. And we get the position. I think Max actually hit the wall on the exit there of the corner as we managed to dive down the inside there. But we do make up a place now. We're up into 8th place. And this was the opportunity where I thought I need to start passing the drivers. Mainly as Verstappen has a look there in this Singapore sling there. Mainly because I saw how far away George Russell and Sam are. If you look at the mini-map, look at the entire train, and then look at the front there, just towards the Anderson Bridge. You can see as we bump the wall there towards the Singapore sling. Look how far away Sam and George Russell have got. And with them being on the 2 stop, and I'm on the 1 stop, I do need to get on with it. So we now go down the inside of Lando Norris into the bridge section here, and we make that one stick. Beautiful improvisation there to make the move, and I realized that my straight line speed was set up very, very poorly. I really didn't give myself a lot on downforce, a lot of straight line speeds for this setup. Obviously, the Singapore Grand Prix, as we get close to Rosberg there, have to take evasive action now, as Norris now has to look on the inside there, but we to cover off Lando Norris's attack very, very quickly. At this stage of the race as well, both Russell and Sam have just exited the pits. They've already pitted for a new set of tyres very early on here, but Lando Norris now comes back at us. We've now got DRS on Rosberg. Norris has got DRS on us. We go down the inside of Rosberg here. We make the move stick on both Rosberg and Norris. Now the two of them have to scrap between each other and see who's going to get what out of each other, and it's going to be Lando Norris getting in front of Rosberg there, and obviously he has to sit back now and just accept that position. As you can see there, the top 3 there, Pascal Wehrlein, Reese and Hülkenberg, has now become Pascal Wehrlein and Hülkenberg as Reese has come into the pits now, and we're now pressing onto Hülkenberg, just trying to take advantage now, because our entire stint has really just been sticking with these hypersoft runners, and honestly, that's not a bad thing, because obviously we're trying to beat these guys as we go down the inside of Hülkenberg again. Another one of those characteristic moves, and I've spotted that all race long, that my straight line speed was terrible, and I was not getting the run on any cars. Even if I had DRS and they didn't, still wouldn't work out for me. So I took the second option of just finding the most audacious braking points and just going for it in there, because they seem to be working right now, and that's what we're going to be doing. Meanwhile, looking back though, we're having a little look at how the things are going between Russell and Sam. Both of them are now on ultra soft tyres, as you can see on your screens, and my prediction is that they're going to be doing hyper soft, ultra soft, and maybe a set of soft tyres, just because of how early they've come into the pits. I can't see them going that much longer, but as you can see now, here comes Russell passing the other BMW. You can see, look, how much more difficult it's been for him to make that move on the BMW car, because Sam is right on his tail now for the battle for a net P1 position here. Sam is looking very, very feisty. That McLaren obviously has been quick all year long, but Russell really struggling to pass the traffic here, and now Sam has got a great opportunity to pass the car, and you can see the amount of traffic that these guys have got to get through. Sam, obviously, that's not really much of an issue, because of course all he can do is just breeze past the BMW. Oh shit, no, it's not been as easy overtake as I thought there, but around the outside, Sam's got the better grip, better speed all around. It's the slowest car on the grid, pretty much versus the fastest car on the grid, and you can see that the fastest car on the grid there takes the position. And now we can see we're on to George Russell passing one of the Lamborghini cars now. Pretty much a role reversal of what we saw over in the BMW car here, but that's a lock up there from Perez. Lock up from Russell, and there's the opportunity that Sam was looking for. That's all he needed, and George Russell cracking a little bit under pressure there, and Sam takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix for the time, well, a net P1 of the Singapore Grand Prix, and George Russell will be desperate That's a wood. Yeah, we'll make it up. To get that position back. And Sam now very close there towards Raffles Boulevard. Gets the position done on Sergio Perez. And that's really frustrating for George Russell. He's been doing such a great job so far in this race. But there is still a long way to go. And obviously, George cannot afford to just sit back and just let Sam get away now. He's got to get past that Lamborghini car quick and then get on with his Grand Prix. Meanwhile, for my Grand Prix, it's taken a massive turn for the worse. If you have a look at my front tyre temperatures, my left front is on 103 degrees and my right front is on 108 degrees. So my tyres are completely shot at the front in terms of temperature, and I now have catastrophic understeer, and the car is not turning. And you can see the entire train has now caught up to my back here. As that was really close to contact there between myself and Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis, who's also on the ultra soft tyres, has taken the lead of the Grand Prix, and I cannot do anything about it because I have absolutely no grip here. And you can see, look how far Hamilton's pulling away from myself here. Look at that. The car will not turn in properly into that second to last corner, and I decided, let's just box. Let's get off these tyres now as I bumped the wall there on the exit. It was a really, really difficult stint. I was a good 5 or 6 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. In the space of 2 laps, that gap came all the way down and Hamilton passed me and went a second clear. My tyre temperatures just shot off the roof. And honestly, I remember that there was obviously the tyre temperature patch. I've never really been affected by the tyre temperatures. Only around Singapore has it been a massive, massive problem. And this is the first time I've ever actually had the problem. And I didn't realise, I was thinking, why have I got so much understeer? Did I push my tyres too hard and in the first stint to keep up with the the hyper soft runners, which wasn't really that much of an issue for me. But it was the tyre temperatures. They were shot and I had horrible understeer. Car wouldn't go into any corners. And we rejoin last. Yep, last. Awesome. Right, well, this is going to be a fun afternoon, isn't it? Well, we're just going to have to see what we can do now. We're in P20. Obviously, people are yet to stop. We're up into P18 now as drivers start to come in for either their first or maybe like their last stop. It kind of really depends here. And you can see Rosberg there rejoins and Hamilton there rejoins on a new set of hypersoft tyres. And is now up into P14. So in theory, you know, it's not that terrible. I mean, we pitted a little bit earlier than Lewis Hamilton did. But obviously, we are kind of in range of where we should be with the field. As there goes Verline and Vettel. And Hamilton now, meanwhile, doesn't really want to stay behind Rosberg too long. And he's going to breeze past him, though, with a fresh set of hypersoft tyres. There's Hamilton doing a completely different strategy to what I was doing. And actually, that might just be the two-stop strategy option that I saw at the start of the race. Because obviously, Hamilton had that choice of doing the hypersoft, it was ultrasoft, hypersoft, ultrasoft. But obviously, if I tried to do that myself, I would have had to go on to lap 12 on my ultrasoft tyres. And as you saw, my ultras died after lap 10 because of the temperatures. So now I need to keep a very close eye on the tyre temperatures and make sure that I don't fall into the same trap as that as the back end comes out once again on myself. Not really the best thing to be doing at this stage of the race. As Hamilton now stuck behind Verstappen a little bit, and let's just try and crawl through the traffic a little bit. If we can try and take advantage when Hamilton is passing through the traffic, that's going to help us out here as we now go down the inside here of Nico Rosberg. Make the move stick there. Oh, and Rosberg's gone into the wall. I think Rosberg, yeah, he did. He's broken his front wing. Nico Rosberg just drove into the wall there. And on every occasion that I've made a late breaking move like that, nobody has gone into the wall like that. And when I was driving it, I didn't actually feel any contact at all. So Rosberg clearly didn't want to back out of that one. And well, that's cost him quite heavily there. As we now have a look here at Lewis Hamilton, who is stuck now behind Verstappen, and also by one of the BMW cars there of Nick De Vries, I think it is. And that's put Hamilton under major pressure from myself now in this Grand Prix. But as you can see, we all stay a line astern. It is Verstappen versus Nick versus Hamilton versus myself. Hamilton now pulls out of the slipstream here of De Vries, and he goes towards the exit of this straight now, and he should get this move done because he's got the better tyres at this stage of the race, and that is exactly what it's going to do. Hold it around the outside, and I'm just going to sort of peek towards the inside here, and I'm going to go down the inside of Nick De Vries because I don't want to stay behind Nick throughout the entire Singapore sling section. I'll just lose too much time there. And as you can see, my tyre temperatures are already on 97 and 101 degrees. Still quite warm already. But meanwhile, on lap 16 of the Grand Prix, we've now got Sam up our tail, and we've got Verstappen in front of us. Not for much longer, though. We go down the inside of Verstappen here, and as I predicted, Sam has stopped for a new set of tyres, and he is on a set of soft tyres now to the end of the Grand Prix. So he's now got fresh soft tyres versus my slightly used soft tyres. Mine are 6 laps old, so Sam's 6 laps younger at this stage of the race. But we now have net race position over Sam, which is critical for this Singapore Grand Prix. We pretty much now are P1 in this race, as Sam now goes towards the outside here on Verstappen, locks up in towards the first corner. Max takes that position back, says thank you very much on his ultra soft tyres. Sam really needs to get past Verstappen now. It's costing him a lot of time here, and he wants to get onto the back of my tail and start making a ragged wretched of my race here. Obviously, in the championship, this is critical for Sam to make sure that I do not beat him in this Grand Prix, as we now go down the straight here towards the exit, and here comes Sam now on the brakes now towards the outside line. He's done this many times here, and look at that. Just grip the performance that Sam's got. He manages to make it stick, and he's built a little bit of a gap now between himself and Russell of 2 cars before now he gets onto the back of me. And the end of lap 17, that's exactly what he said as we get on the curb there. Oh, and the back end's gone horribly wrong there. That was a really poor exit to that corner there, and Sam bumped wheels with us a little bit there. I do not know. I genuinely, I absolutely crap myself when that happened in real life. I thought I was going straight into the wall, but we somehow managed to hold it on, as Hamilton now is in 5th place, 6 seconds up the road. He's on hyper-soft tyres though, not that concerned. However, what I am concerned about is Sam behind me. We're both on soft tyres now, so no one's got a tyre advantage. No one, in theory, needs to stop again. So let's get down to battle. Let's go do this. Here we go. Right, onto the straight now. Sam with some DRS now gets the run on myself. We go heavy towards the inside line here. I didn't quite know how much straight line speed that McLaren had down on the straight, and to be honest, it was quite a lot, but Sam tries his traditional outside line tactic. Not going to work on me on that occasion there. And now we try and push our way through, hoping that we don't get a puncture there from any of those debris. That would be a bit awkward. But we continue on our way. And lap 19 of the Grand Prix now going in towards this right-hander here. A little bit of a slide there on the straight. Not too bad, though, as we now have overtake here. And Rich makes sure enabled to us here. Sam now goes towards the inside line. A little bit of a bump. I think he bumped the rear of my car there slightly. This time he tries the inside line in towards the corner. I thought, let me try the outside line tactic, see if it works. Very, very simple to defend around the outside. It's actually quite very good. And Vettel there leads the Grand Prix at the moment. Not anymore, because we're now in front as Reese there takes 3rd place. And he's actually on ultra soft tyres, so I wonder how far back Reese is. Reese might have just put himself into play here. If Reese doesn't have to stop again, those ultra soft tyres might just suit him quite nicely there. As we're now trying to defend against Sam here. Very close to the wall there. Didn't quite feel that comfortable. And on to lap 21 of the Grand Prix now. All the drivers are much, much quicker. In fact, Reese has already caught up to the back of myself and Sam, such as the scrapping that we've been doing, really just putting us off course slightly here, as we can see now. Myself having to do some more defending against Sam here. Towards the inside line we go now, in towards Raffles here. We go down the inside. Sam takes the position, or has to, move away, and Reese then tucks in behind. And now I had a little bit of a strategy going on here. Sam is going to continue to keep on battering at my rear wing like no man's business. Reese, however, is on ultra soft tyres. If my defensive tactics can cause Reese to overtake Sam, I will let Reese through. I knew that from the start. I was never going to hold up Reese in this race. I was going to let Reese through, give Reese a big advantage to pull away. If he has to stop again, so be it. He'll probably come out in front of us. But if he doesn't have to stop again, well then, for Reese's sake, he can pull on away and he can potentially grab his first race win of the year. But as we now go on to lap 23 of the Grand Prix now, we're still doing everything we can here to try and stay in front as we go in towards through that section. Oh, you are actually kidding me. That little tiniest of scrapes on the wall has just given us a puncture in this race, and I think Sam's gone into the back of us there. We've got a puncture from the wall there, and Sam has come on through. We're going to have to dive into the pits now. I swear I didn't even touch the wall then, and we've just got a puncture. That is so harsh there. But what I'm more concerned about is I think Sam may have just gone to the back of us. We had to turn to go into the pits there. Sam obviously didn't have anywhere else to go. He thought that he was just trying to make the overtake on myself, because obviously I'd lost time because of the puncture. And that's horrible for Sam. And I think Reese obviously snuck through as well, because he bumped obviously into the back of me. Reese had the clear line in towards there. And that is, well, that's Sam's race pretty much ruined. It's my race ruined as well, because I've got a puncture from, I don't even think I touched the wall there. On board now with Sam. This is live on Sam's perspective. Look at the train behind Sam. He's definitely smashed into the back. In fact, these things lost the entire end plate on the front right there. I don't think you can see on this perspective. He's still fighting for it though. There it is. Look, there's that front end plate there. It's completely gone. That's probably maybe an orange, potentially a red front wing end plate. And Sam is now losing time, losing performance here. He's not stopping for a new set of tyres and a front wing. I will probably stop for a new set of tyres and a front wing, as Norris now tries to take advantage of Sam, who's also got DRS here. This should probably actually favour Sam, to be honest, because he's got DRS. And Yeah, it does. He stays in front. Not really the best idea, though. Lap 24 of the Grand Prix, and we're getting on with it now on our perspective, on a fresh set of ultra soft tyres now. Catching up to the back of Verstappen here. It's not really going to make too much of a difference, but Verstappen goes slightly a little bit defensive. But down the inside here, Daniel Ricciardo now in P10. He's on soft tyres, but as you can see, he's on the back straight now. He's just entered the DRS zone. So a very long way to catch, but we'll see what we can do now as we go in towards the Singapore Sling section here. Braking a little bit late there. The understeer on the car, no! We've gone into the wall after... Oh my Jesus Christ, that was such a bad mistake for myself in towards that tight and twisty section. We did the corner just fine, but we had another hit of understeer, and I was way too late to react to it, and that's our race over. That has literally been a nightmare of a Grand Prix. And, well, there it is, look, guys. Reese did manage to pick up his first race win in Formula 1 ahead of the two Red Bulls. Ocon with fourth ahead of the two Audis, the Porsche car, Norris and Ricciardo and Verstappen. But for ourselves, like, we started off badly. Our tyres had overheated. We lost loads of time. We finally got somewhere on the soft tyres. Got the most dumbest puncture in the world. And then we were just lackadaisical and went into the wall. Wow. What a race. Well, taking a look at the Drivers' Championship then, well, the top two, obviously myself and Sam, don't actually score any points. Of course, we DNF'd from the Grand Prix, and Sam failed to score points, finishing in 11th after damaging his front wing after colliding into the back of my car after I gained a puncture. Leaves myself on 207 points and Sam on 154 points. And this is very, very big for the World Championship itself. We've got 3 races to go, and that gap is 53 points. So it is very much in the hands of myself, and I've just got to keep on putting in the performances now, and we should be able to try and come out on top. Pascal Wehrlein, meanwhile, has closed that gap between himself and Sam now. Less than 20 points separates those lot as Pascal now gains a big step. And that, you can see again, look, how dominant Sam's been this year. And he's nearly dropping down to P3 in the championship. Reese, with his first ever win in Formula 1, goes up to 4th in the championship now. Jumps Vettel, which is a major thing. And George Russell there on 93 points. Very close now in that scrap. Hamilton drops off a little bit. He's on 84 points with Lando Norris on 76 points. And Charles Leclerc also on 72 points. He's now wiggling himself into contention here, which is very, very big. And Pierre Gasly still has not been overtaken yet. He still remains 10th in the championship on 36 points. And in the Constructors' Championship, well, Mercedes increased their advantage over McLaren yet again, with that championship gap now up to 74 points, with again 3 races to go. Still not mathematically over yet, but it's getting closer and closer now at this stage. And then McLaren again with more unreliability problem. Well, not necessarily unreliability problems, but obviously another unfortunate problem in this race. That means they're on 230 points, and Red Bull with 2nd and 3rd today close right up to McLaren now with 220 points. Audi on 181 points. They've dropped off now from Red Bull. They've sort of been scrapping all year long, but really Red Bull have kicked into gear in the second half of the season, especially with George Russell now really getting involved in the championship. Porsche have managed to pass the 100-point mark. They're on 101 points for the year, and they've been doing a stellar job. Ferrari on 56 points, no points for them today. Renault, meanwhile, though, are on 51 points. They've now jumped Jaguar on 47 points and are getting ever closer to jumping Ferrari, which will be quite embarrassing for them if it ends up like that. Lamborghini on 21 points. Obviously, BMW haven't scored yet. But anyway, guys, let's get into the post-race notebook and see what the teams and drivers had to say after the Grand Prix itself. So after that dramatic Singapore Grand Prix, it was time to see what had unravelled afterwards. First of all, Sam was completely unaware that Tom had suffered a puncture in the Grand Prix. Of course, what happened is, obviously, as soon as Tom was moving to go in towards the pit at a late call, Sam obviously then tried to make the overtake, and as Tom was slowing down to get into the pit, it all went completely wrong and there was complete confusion. Tom says that he was unaware that Sam was moving for the overtake, and Sam was completely unaware that Tom suffered a puncture, and that's why he obviously had to move over to the side there. It was a complete chaos between the pair of them, and it's obviously cost Sam more than it has Tom. Reese is lost for words, however, after his first ever F1 win. Reese, of course, decided to do a different strategy, which left him on the ultra soft tyres at the end of the race. With Tom and Sam having a battle all the way till the end, Reese was able to capitalise when they collided, got safely through, pulled out the gap, and got the race win. Red Bull, meanwhile, are slightly downbeat after their result. It was 2nd and 3rd, which is sort of a great job for them, but they really thought that there was a potential for a 1-2 finish in that race. Obviously, George Russell led for a long period of time, but struggled through the traffic, whereas Sam was able to get past him and through the traffic faster. But as soon as the two collided, obviously that brought Pascal Wehrlein and also George Russell right back into play, but with Reese on a different strategy and on faster and softer tyres, just wasn't enough for them in the end. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for today's Singapore Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here to the channel as well. I'm going to be seeing you guys next time for the next episode, which could be at the Italian Grand Prix. Yeah, hopefully we could try and gain a result from there, of course. Probably one of the weakest tracks for us because of our straight line speed, but I'm sure we'll be able to try and get something out of that. But until then, guys, I will see you for then. Until then, take care all. Peace.